Hey there, this is Brianne with Positive Partners Dog Training. I'm really looking forward to having you and your dog join me in class soon. This presentation will first go over how we'll be training our dogs, and then we'll finish up with some important housekeeping rules and information on what to bring to class. There are 3 secret words scattered throughout this presentation, so keep your ears open. Once you've completed the orientation, email me the 3 secret words so that I know you've watched the whole thing. You can revisit this presentation as often as you need to. In case we haven't met yet, I'll introduce myself. My name is Brianne Harris, and I'm the owner and founder of Positive Partners Dog Training. I've been training professionally since 2015. I have a BS in psychology I earned at Appalachian State University, where I focused on the principles of learning and behavior modification. I am a certified professional dog trainer, knowledge assessed through the Certification Council of Professional Dog Trainers. I'm also a Canine Good Citizen evaluator and can evaluate for all the other AKC tests, including the Star Puppy Program, Community Canine, Urban Canine, and Trick Dog programs. In addition to that, I'm also a tester and observer for the Alliance of Therapy Dogs. I love making sure that people are able to have fun with their dogs and can show off just how well behaved they are. There are as many techniques to train dogs as there are trainers and owners. There are a lot of different ways to teach a dog just about anything. When I train dogs, I use proven techniques that are based in science. I could teach a dog not to jump on me by hitting him on the head with a cast iron skillet, but is that really the best way to do it? Using positive reinforcement and marker training is gentle and fosters a great relationship with your dog. We all have dogs because we love them. So why would anyone want to use techniques that cause their dogs to fear or avoid them? In February 2004, a paper published in the Journal of Animal Welfare by Ellie Hibby and colleagues at the University of Bristol compared the relative effectiveness of positive and punitive methods of dog training. The dogs in the study became more obedient the more they were trained using rewards. On the other hand, when they were punished, the only significant change was a corresponding rise in the number of undesirable behaviors. A series of more recent papers support veterinary behaviorist Dr. Nicholas Dodman's theory that punishment increases stress, leading to increased aggression in dogs. A study published in the October 2008 issue of Journal of Veterinary Behavior found that positive reinforcement led to the lowest average scores for fear and anxious attention-seeking behavior, while aggression scores were higher in dogs of owners who used punishment. Now, I won't beat you over the head with why we won't be using physical corrections, forcing our dogs to do things, or trying to intimidate them. I'm happy to discuss it in person if you have questions, though. Just know that using positive, force-free, and gentle techniques actually works better and your dog remembers the training longer. The most important thing I want you to learn, the one fact that I want to burn into your brain as if it's a song you can't stop repeating in your mind, is this one simple sentence: rewarded behavior continues. So instead of focusing on things we see our dogs doing wrong that we want to change, let's start looking for the things they're doing right and reward those behaviors. Dogs must still learn limits to their behavior, but this can be accomplished by replacing bad habits with desirable behaviors. Whereas previously you scolded your dog, you can now reward your dog for things done right. Dogs do what works for them. If they get an obvious benefit from doing a behavior, they'll do it more often. For example, if they're locked in a fence during the day while you're gone at work and they're able to climb over the fence and run to the neighbor's house and play with their dog, they'll likely climb the fence at every opportunity. They're not being a bad dog, they're just being dogs, doing what works for them. You wouldn't work for free, so why should your dog? If you went to work every day and at the end of the week they told you they were short on cash and asked you to wait until next week for your paycheck, you might agree. But after a few weeks of this, it would get old. You'd eventually stop working for that employer. If you lost your job right now and were offered a job making $10,000 a year doing something easy, $60,000 a year doing something that didn't interest you at all, $150,000 a year doing something you hated, or $200,000 a year doing something you absolutely love, what would you pick? Of course, you're going to pick the job that benefits you the most money, and the most satisfaction. Dogs are the same. So often we expect dogs to do what we want them to do because we think they should love us or respect us, or should obey us because we provide for them. We might have love for, a deep respect for, or even feelings that we should obey our bosses, but in the end, if we didn't get paid for our jobs, we'd quit. Dogs are just like us. In the beginning, we're going to use lots and lots, and I mean lots of treats. But as our dogs learn the behaviors and have enough repetitions or trials under their belts, we'll start to fade the food. Most people think that if their dog does something correctly several times, he knows it. It's not quite that easy. Dogs literally need hundreds of repetitions of a behavior in order for it to really stick. Positive reinforcement training uses anything your dog enjoys to reward good behaviors. Just because you think those expensive new treats you bought your dog should make his eyes roll back in his head when he eats them doesn't necessarily mean he'll think that way. Maybe he likes meatballs better. Every dog decides what is rewarding for them, and it can change at any time. Even though your dog may love meatballs most of the time, if he sees the opportunity to play with a buddy, he may turn his nose up at the meatballs and choose to play instead. What this means for you is that you have to get a better meatball. You need to find another reward that trumps the desire to play with the other dog, or you can use the reward of getting to play with the other dog to your advantage. For example, ask your dog to sit quietly for a moment and then allow him to play with the other dog. A reward can be petting, verbal praise, throwing a ball, playing frisbee or tug, the opportunity to chase you, sniffing the grass, going for a ride in the car, food, treats, getting on the furniture, or swimming. The list is really limitless. Whatever your dog likes can be used as a reward. And what is rewarding for one dog can be punishing for another. The dog decides what is rewarding. Some dogs love a good ear scratch. Other dogs might prefer if you just kept your hands to yourself. This doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them or that they're bad dogs. They just don't like it. So, how do dogs learn? And it is time for your second secret word. Your second secret word is sunshine. Your second secret word is sunshine. Dogs learn by association, and all dogs, humans, and every other critter there is learns this way. Although dogs' brains are very similar to ours in many ways, they don't learn in exactly the same way we do. We learn well by reading, listening, or observing and making connections. Dogs associate events and learn from experiences. For example, if you get your dog's leash, hook her up, and take her out for a nice walk every day, eventually your dog will associate the leash with good things and get excited when she sees it. If you only get the leash out to hook her up to go to the vet and she gets carsick on the way, eventually you'll have a dog that hides or cowers when she sees the leash because she associates it with unpleasant things. Learning is a process that results in the dog recognizing relationships between events and then changing its behavior based on the consequences. The better the consequence, the more likely the behavior is to occur again and again. Dogs live in a world of cost-benefit analysis. We need to remember that in order for our dogs to understand the verbal cues we give them, we have to teach them by association what those words mean. Get off the bed means nothing to your dog unless you've properly and systematically trained her what it means. If you take the time and train her to get off the bed with the word off attached to it, then she'll understand. Lots of people say, my dog doesn't listen to me. One of the reasons dogs don't seem to listen to people is that they really don't know what those words that you're spewing at them actually mean. Dogs are very contextual. Remember, they learn by association. And if you taught your dog to sit in front of you in the kitchen, she may not understand how to sit beside you in the living room. Dogs watch our body language and other visual cues in the environment. The last thing they associate with a behavior is a verbal cue. They're not a verbal species. In order for our dogs to truly understand the verbal cues we give them, we must train those cues over and over again. Hundreds, and I mean hundreds of repetitions in different places and circumstances and with differing levels of distraction before they truly understand what we're saying. We are going to use markers to train our dogs. So what is marker training? Well, it's smart training. You may have seen a clicker used to train animals. A clicker, or a verbal marker, such as the word yes, are basically the same thing. They're used to indicate an exact moment in time that the dog accomplishes the task we set out for him, and when marked, he knows that a reward will follow. Marking the exact behavior we want gives the dog valuable information about what we're trying to teach him. A marker is a very important part of dog training. It gives the dog an instant signal that they've done something right. The marker acts as a bridge between the time the desired behavior occurs and when we deliver the reward. If we just gave a food reward without using a marker, it would be very confusing for the dog to pinpoint exactly what he was doing to earn that reward. For example, if we want to reward a dog for sitting, we get the dog to sit and then reach into our pocket for the treat. By the time we hand it to him, he may already be standing up or looking at the cute dog next to him in class. So he thinks the reward was for standing or looking at the other dog. Now, we've already learned that rewarded behavior continues, so now our dog may try standing or looking at the other dog to get another tasty treat. The mark serves to tell the dog the exact behavior he's doing to earn the reward. So, in the same example, if we're trying to teach our dog to sit and we're using a marker like yes, we can lure our dog to sit, and as soon as his hiney hits the ground, we can say yes, and then give him a treat. The yes says, I want you to continue to put your hiney on the ground just like you did, and it bridges the gap between the time it takes us to get the treat to them. Using a marker to establish new behaviors turns gray areas into black and white for your dog. Think of the marker as a shutter button on a camera. The moment your dog offers a behavior you want, you use the marker to take a picture. A marker is usually a sound, however deaf animals can be trained with a flash of light or laser pointer. Fish are often trained with a flash of light from a small pin light. Marine mammal trainers use whistles. Most often, dog trainers and pet owners use a clicker or their own voice. You can try a clicker if you want, or simply use your voice as a verbal marker. There are advantages to each. You have your voice with you all the time and can mark behavior in any situation, but the click gets to the dog's brain more clearly. So, how do you use a marker? Well, it's pretty simple. You get the behavior you want, either by using a treat to lure your dog to do the behavior, or by setting your dog up to do little tiny steps of it. You mark the behavior with a click or a yes, and immediately follow the click or yes with a treat. Always give a treat after you mark. Even if you mess up and mark something you don't want by accident, the dog has to know that we're keeping up our part of the bargain. One reward for every mark. If you don't reward each and every time you mark a behavior, your marker will lose its power and become meaningless to the dog. Some final tips. Every day counts. Every moment that you spend with your dog is an opportunity to teach him something, whether it's good or bad. Training doesn't have to take hours a day. 2 5-minute sessions or 5 2-minute sessions of intentional training every day are often all it takes for most behaviors. The more you practice at home, the better your dog will be in class. When your dog is learning something new, be quick and generous when giving them rewards. If you don't feel a bit silly at first, you're probably not doing it quite right. Be happy, upbeat, and have fun. Cut or divide treats into pea-sized pieces. You want them small and quick to eat. Place treats into snack-sized Ziploc bags and refrigerate if needed. Meats such as pork, roast, or chicken can be purchased on sale, cooked, and divided into bags and frozen until needed. Make enough baggies to last several days or a week. You'll be much more likely to take 5 minutes to train your dog if you can grab a bag of treats and go, as opposed to spending an extra 5 minutes each time cutting and portioning out treats. Bring out the big guns when coming to class. Use the most delicious and desirable treats your dog could dream of. Keep your dog hungry. When training, you can use your dog's meals as treats. Dry kibble can be a great treat if your dog finds it interesting enough. I use kibble at home all the time, but if I'm training in a distracting environment, I up the ante a bit. Cut back on your dog's meals and use that food for training treats. Overweight dogs are less likely to be motivated by food, so for the sake of their health and their training, keep them at a desirable weight. Many trainers suggest throwing away your dog's food bowl altogether. We often get horrified looks when we say this, but seriously, don't use a food ball. Instead, take the 1 minute to 30 seconds it usually takes most dogs to snarf up the dinner and use that kibble to train them. You can also put it in a Kong, a food puzzle, or any other food dispensing toy and give your dog lots of mental stimulation for their dinner. Congratulations! You now have the basic information needed to train your dog with the most modern, effective, humane, and fun techniques available. But don't go just yet. We still have a little bit more information to go over.
When you arrive for class, park in the gravel area in front of the carriage house or horse barn. Please don't block anyone in. Do not allow your dog to harass the horses. Exercise and potty your dog in the outside grassy areas, but do not let them urinate or walk in the landscaping. Please bring your own bags for waste. Clean up after your dog and then drop your bag outside the entry. We will collect them and dispose of them after class. You'll be bringing in a lot of stuff. Be sure to arrive early so that you can bring in your items and set up your station before bringing in your dog. For safety reasons, high heels, backless shoes, flip-flops, sandals, etc. are not allowed on the training floor. Sneakers or other proper shoes must be worn. It's natural for dogs to be very distracted and excited for the first night, and maybe more, of class. Be patient with them. Don't get frustrated if your dog is unable to focus during class. It can be overwhelming for some dogs. You can still follow along, read class assignments, and practice at home. The first line of defense if your dog has trouble concentrating is to try a better treat.
Please do not allow dog-to-dog interactions or meet and greets between dogs before, during, or after class. Group class can be very stressful and scary for some dogs. Meeting on leash makes other dogs feel very trapped. We do not want a dog fight on our hands. Always ask before petting someone else's dog. They may be shy, stressed, scared, or just need some extra space. Do not feel bad about telling someone no. Your first priority is your dog. We want class to be a good experience for everyone. If you or your dog needs a break during class, please take one. Go out to the potty area and let your dog relax, or just sit quietly and watch while others work. Always check your email before class. Class will be canceled for severe snow, ice storms, or other unsafe conditions. Hopefully we'll not have to cancel for weather or for other reasons, but if we do, an email will be sent out no later than an hour and a half before class.
Collar. A properly fitting flat buckle or snap collar, or a martingale limited slip collar, a head halter, or a front attach harness. Please do not bring choke, prong, pinch, or electric stimulation shock collars. Leash. 6 foot or shorter leash of the appropriate width and strength for the size of your dog. No flexi, bungee, or retractable leashes. You may also want to purchase a 10 foot to 15 foot leash for recall exercises. Water and bowl. Water will be available at Valley Cruces Farm. Some dogs can be picky about water and may not drink water they are not familiar with. a flat dog bed, blanket, or towel. Prior to the first class, please place this item in your dog's crate, in their bed, or use it to feed them for the week leading up to class. We want this bed to smell like your dog for an activity we'll be doing in class.
Treats for the dog. They should be pea-sized treats. Bring at least 3 different types of treats in snack-sized baggies. They should be something your dog loves and goes crazy for. Save these super special treats just for training. Examples are hot dogs, cheese, real meat, high quality, unusual flavored kibble or dry dog food, freeze-dried or cooked liver, or sandwich meat. You will need the equivalent of 4 to 6 snack-sized baggies of food. Better to bring too many than not enough. Bring a hungry dog. Please do not feed your dog before class. Bring an alert dog. Try not to go on long walks or spend too much time at the dog park before class. We don't want your dog too tired to learn. You may want to consider bringing a treat bag or pouch and a clicker. And always bring a smile and a positive attitude.
Alright, that's it. It's now time for your last secret word. The last secret word is newspaper. Your third secret word is newspaper. I'm really looking forward to having you guys join me in class soon.
Thank you so much for choosing to train with me in our Level Up program. If you have any questions, you can reach me via email, brianne@positivepartnersdogtraining.com, or you can use the Get in Touch page at my website, positivepartnersdogtraining.com. I look forward to seeing you in class soon.